What makes a true air story unforgettable? Is it the daring pilots, the sky-high missions, or the moments when real history feels almost too dramatic to believe? In the middle of those clouds lies a secret. Hollywood loves to stretch the truth, but sometimes the real events are already more gripping than anything a screenwriter could dream up. Today we count down 12 air stories that blur the line between fact and movie magic. Stay sharp. Number 12, Devotion, 2022. From the very first scene, Devotion throws you straight into the life of Jesse Brown, a real United States Navy aviator who carried the weight of history on his shoulders. The movie sets up a powerful dynamic. Two young pilots, Jesse Brown and Tom Hudner, step into the Korean War long before they are ready, yet more prepared than anyone expected. Their friendship forms the emotional core of the story, and Hollywood stayed surprisingly close to the truth this time. What makes the real mission behind Devotion so compelling is how ordinary the moments seemed until everything changed. These were not famous heroes chasing glory. They were two men flying missions that demanded focus, calm thinking, and a belief that their wingman would never disappear from their side. The movie leans into the stress of harsh weather, limited fuel, and the lonely emptiness of the skies. The most powerful part? The story does not change the heart of what really happened in December of 1950. Hudner's bold decision to crash land in freezing terrain to try to help his friend is as factual as it is heartbreaking. Hollywood polished the edges, sure, but the emotion is real. Devotion honors a friendship that stood strong even in the coldest hours of war, a moving tribute. Number 11, Red Tails, 2012. Red Tails opens with a punch. A group of black pilots facing a wall of prejudice while trying to join the fight in the skies of Europe. It is a bold and energetic retelling of the Tuskegee Airmen, the first group of black American military aviators. The movie does heighten some of the action with dramatic flourishes, but the heart of the story stays tied to real missions that push these men from overlooked trainees to respected aces. The film shows the pilots flying outdated aircraft at first, doubted by nearly every officer around them. That part is painfully accurate. What Red Tails captures best is the shift in respect once they finally get their chance to prove themselves. Their escort missions over Italy and Germany were so reliable that bomber crews began asking for them by name. Hollywood added some big hero moments, quick one-liners, and fast-paced dogfights that feel more stylized than what actually happened. But the emotional truth remains. The Tuskegee Airmen built a reputation on skill, focus, and discipline, not on special treatment. They fought two battles at once, one in the air and one back home. The movie blends real history with fictional composites, yet each major milestone comes from documented missions. The real victory was not just in the skies, but in finally forcing people to recognize their talent. Red Tails is loud, bold, and occasionally exaggerated, but the courage at its core is completely authentic. Number 10, The Tuskegee Airmen, 1995. Before Hollywood wanted flashy shots and huge set pieces, the 1995 film The Tuskegee Airmen focused on the quieter truth. It opens with a group of young men trying to break into a world that kept insisting they did not belong there. The movie keeps its story tight, often sticking close to the real accounts of the pilots who trained at the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. Where Red Tails uses high-energy style, this version stays grounded in real tension and daily challenges. The training sequences draw directly from interviews and historical notes. Everything from strict instructors to mechanical issues to the quiet moments of doubt comes from documented memories of the original pilots. When the men finally reach Europe, the story slows down just enough to show the pressure. Missions were long, cold, and unforgiving. Yet the airmen built a reputation for discipline and steady nerves, which is exactly what their real records show. The film softens some conflicts, but stays true to the emotional journey. The Tuskegee Airmen works because it respects the facts. The names may shift here and there for dramatic clarity, but the spirit is real. It is a reminder that history is sometimes intense without needing any extra shine. A steady, honorable tribute to men who refused to give up. Number 9, Memphis Belle, 1990. Memphis Belle begins with a promise. One last mission, and the crew of a B-17 Flying Fortress can finally go home. That single idea carries the entire movie, and it mirrors the real story of the actual Memphis Belle crew, whose 1943 mission became one of the most documented bomber flights of the era. Hollywood certainly added dramatic sparks. The conversations, close calls, and personality clashes are shaped for storytelling, but the core mission is very real. Bombing runs over Europe were extremely dangerous, and surviving 25 of them was nearly impossible. The Memphis Belle crew earned national attention because they did exactly that. The movie recreates the feeling of long hours inside a noisy aircraft, the tense quiet before reaching a target, and the teamwork required to keep everyone calm. It captures the exhausting mix of fear and routine these airmen lived with on every mission. While some of the film's events are rearranged or heightened, nearly every major crisis reflects real challenges bomber crews face. replaced. The true Memphis Belle returned to the United States for a morale-boosting tour, becoming a symbol of persistence. The movie leans into that sentiment, blending truth with polished storytelling. It is an energetic tribute that keeps enough accuracy to honor the original crew while still delivering Hollywood intensity. A classic blend of authenticity and cinema. Number 8. The Dam Busters, 1955. The Dam Busters wastes no time setting its stage. Engineers working day and night, pilots practicing low-altitude runs, and a mission that seems almost impossible. The film tells the true story of Operation Chastise, the 1943 raid on German industrial dams. This mission required skill, planning, and one daring invention known as the bouncing bomb. Surprisingly, the movie is extremely faithful to the real operation. Much of the dialogue comes directly from recorded accounts. The testing sequences, where teams try again and again to perfect the bomb's spin and altitude, are based on real notes. Even the tension between innovation and traditional thinking is historically accurate. Where Hollywood usually exaggerates, the Dam Busters stays restrained. The final attack run is recreated with care. Pilots really did fly dangerously low, skimming water in the dark while under pressure from ground fire. The film captures the calm focus required to pull off such a demanding task. Some details were kept vague due to security rules at the time, but what made it into the movie is remarkably close to real events. The Dam Busters is not just a film about an air mission. It is a story about trial, error, and sheer determination. A legendary depiction of one of the most daring operations ever attempted. Number 7. Tora, 1970. Tora opens with a quiet tension, the kind that tells you something huge is about to unfold. Instead of wild dramatization, the film takes a careful, almost documentary-style approach to the events leading to the attack on Pearl Harbor. What sets it apart from most Hollywood productions is how far it goes to stay true to real history. This is not a movie guessing what happened. It is a movie recreating it step by step. The film is built on verified timelines, official reports, and accounts from both sides. It highlights miscommunications, warnings that fell through the cracks, and decisions that shaped one of the most shocking moments in American history. Nearly every major event in the movie is based on documented facts. Even small details like delays, weather concerns, and early morning confusion are taken from real military logs. Hollywood usually pushes emotion to the front, but here the accuracy becomes the emotion. Watching both nations move toward a moment neither can undo adds a unique suspense that no script trick can match. The Japanese sequences were filmed with the same care, showing planning rooms, discussions, and doubts that actually took place. Tora remains one of the most balanced portrayals of a real historical event ever put on screen. No exaggeration needed. The truth already carried enough weight. Number 6. Midway, 2019. Midway begins with a bold sense of scale, tossing you straight into the pressure facing pilots in the Pacific during the early years of World War II. Unlike older versions of this story, the 2019 film tries hard to stay grounded in real events surrounding the Battle of Midway, a turning point in the Pacific. And while the movie adds modern style and fast pacing, many of the key sequences come directly from historical reports. The film highlights the codebreakers who worked under constant stress, the pilots who flew long missions with limited fuel, and the commanders who had to make decisions without full information. These parts are accurate and match the real stakes faced by American and Japanese forces. Midway blends emotional stories with detailed recreations of real missions, from dive bombing runs to naval engagements. There are moments when the action leans into blockbuster energy, but the core story stays faithful. The real pilots did fly near impossible angles, make risky dives, and face overwhelming odds. The movie simply visualizes those moments with modern effects. What stands out most is how the film respects both sides of the conflict, showing strategy, mistakes, and bravery without turning anyone into a cartoon. Midway is big, loud, and stylized, but its backbone is true history, a visually intense tribute to a battle that changed everything. Number 5. The Red Baron, 2008. The Red Baron opens with sky battles that feel almost dreamlike, but the story underneath is rooted in one of the most well-known pilots of the First World War. Manfred von Richthofen, known across the world for his bright red plane, is often remembered as a larger-than-life figure. The movie tries to peel back the legend and show the person behind the fame. Much of the film follows real events. Richthofen did become the top flying ace of the war. His victories were widely reported, and he gained a reputation that made him both respected and targeted. The movie adds a fictional romance to soften the tone, but most of the flying sequences and military details draw from documented accounts. The film also touches on a very real shift in Richthofen's attitude. He started as a confident young pilot focused on skill and honor in the air. As the conflict continued, he reportedly began questioning the point of it all. The Red Baron tries to capture that emotional change, showing the weight of responsibility pressing on someone who never asked to become a symbol. Hollywood added drama, yes, but the essence remains. A gifted pilot pulled into a life far bigger than he expected. The movie's blend of truth and emotion makes it memorable. Number 4. Battle of Britain, 1969. Battle of Britain starts with the calm before the storm, then throws you into the summer and autumn of 1940, when the skies over England became the center of one of the most important air struggles in history. The movie makes a point of staying close to the actual sequence of events. It follows the Royal Air Force as they try to defend the country from a large and determined opposing force. One of the most impressive things about this film is its commitment to realism. The production team used real aircraft, real airfields, and detailed planning notes from pilots who lived through the events. Many of the scenes are recreations of specific missions, including interceptions, near misses, and the eerie quiet after long hours in the air. The movie highlights the pressure on commanders who had to ration resources carefully. It shows how young many of the pilots were, how short their rest time was, and how quickly they had to return to the sky. These details match official records right down to the exhaustion many men described. Hollywood kept the story wide, showing multiple squadrons, different perspectives, and the emotional toll on both sides. Most of it lines up with history. The dogfights are dramatic, but the tactics and strategies shown are based on real ones used during the battle. Battle of Britain remains one of the most authentic air films ever made, a gritty and respectful look at a moment that changed the direction of the war. Number 3, Mission of Honor, Hurricane, 2018. Mission of Honor begins with a powerful hook. Skilled pilots from Poland arriving in Britain after losing their home, determined to keep fighting no matter what. The movie tells the true story of Squadron 303, a group that started with almost no support, but quickly became one of the most effective units in the entire conflict. The film keeps many real details intact. The pilots were indeed highly trained long before they reached Britain, and they really did face doubt from officers who assumed they were not ready. The movie captures that early frustration, and then the sharp turn when the squadron finally gets into the sky and proves themselves. Their early missions, rapid climb into fame, and impressive number of successful operations are based on historical records. The flying scenes mix real tactics with cinematic touches, but the spirit matches the truth. The pilots of 303 were known for their quick reactions, sharp eyesight, and strong teamwork. Hollywood added personal drama and tightened the timeline, but the central story remains accurate. This squadron truly became one of the highest scoring units during the Battle of Britain, earning respect through pure skill. Mission of Honor serves as a tribute to pilots who refused to stand down even when everything felt uncertain. A steady, focused, and heartfelt look at real bravery. Number 2, Dunkirk, 2017. Dunkirk begins with silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that tells you danger is everywhere. While the film focuses mostly on the massive rescue of stranded soldiers, its air segments are some of the most striking and realistic ever filmed. Christopher Nolan made it a point to use real planes, real lighting, and practical flying whenever possible, which gives the story a physical weight that CGI rarely matches. The aerial missions shown in the film reflect real Royal Air Force efforts during the Dunkirk evacuation. Pilots really did fly long patrols over the English Channel, trying to protect the men on the beaches below. The movie follows a small group of pilots flying Spitfires and trying to manage fuel, distance, and timing, with almost no room for mistakes. That part is true. They had to track time instead of fuel meters, and every turn counted. Hollywood compresses a few things, blending several real pilots into a simplified version for clarity. But the feeling of isolation in the sky, the stress of losing visibility, and the challenge of keeping calm during tight moments are based on real accounts. The film's flying sequences were praised for authenticity, especially those gentle glides, which mirror actual emergency tactics. Dunkirk is not a pure air story, but its air moments are unforgettable because they echo the real tension faced by pilots who had one job: keep the beaches alive long enough for rescue. A visually stunning blend of truth and craft. Number 1, Top Gun Maverick, 2022. Top Gun Maverick blasts off with modern style, but beneath the flashy maneuvers lies a story shaped by real training methods used by elite aviators. The mission in the movie is fictional, yet almost every challenge reflects real-world scenarios pilots face when flying extremely demanding routes. The film's commitment to real aircraft, real G-forces, and real in-cockpit reactions gives it a documentary strength wrapped in blockbuster energy. The training shown in the movie mirrors advanced programs where pilots practice precision, flying, tight turns, and low-altitude runs. Many of the tactical ideas shown, including steep climbs, narrow valleys, and coordinated team timing, come from real aviation principles. The actors went through intense preparation so their reactions would look authentic, and the film's aerial shots rely heavily on real footage instead of pure effects. Hollywood added dramatic tension and emotional arcs, but the aerial sequences themselves are surprisingly close to real training conditions. The pressure of time, the need for absolute focus, and the teamwork shown among the pilots echo real-life briefings and debriefings. The movie's biggest twist is not its fictional mission, but its honesty about experience. It shows how flying skills never stop evolving, how veterans adapt, and how even the best pilots face moments of doubt. Top Gun Maverick took the spirit of real aviation and polished it into a high-energy story that honors the real world without pretending to be a documentary. A thrilling finish to our countdown. So, what makes an air story unforgettable? Maybe it is the blend of truth and style. Maybe it is the knowledge that behind every dramatic moment lies someone who really lived it. These 12 films remind us that the sky holds stories far bigger than special effects. If you enjoyed this countdown, make sure to like, comment, and share your favorite pick. Which true mission do you you believe should be on the next list. The sky is wide, and the stories are just getting started.